Hello and thank you for joining me. I hope you're all well. This video is about the nesting stove that goes with the GI cup. Final modifications, slightly changed. As far as I'm concerned, nothing else is needed. Stay with me. A little while ago I did a video on modifying the stove. This one's Rothco, and to be fair, I've probably used it about 12 times now and it's become too pliable. It still works, but I'm not happy with it. If you can actually see the stove here, how easy it is, it's like toffee now. So I assume it's a poor quality aluminium, and through continual use through heating, it's just become too pliable. It does work, but it's not ideal. So I bit the bullet and had a genuine US issue one imported from the States. Which is here, hand pressed US 91 NATO serial number. It is so much better, or certainly at this moment in time appears to be. It has been used a few times. The cup is supposedly, it's a copy, it's not the genuine item. I got the new stove to use with my cup, and it doesn't actually fit. My cup is slightly larger than the genuine GI stove. So I thought, here we go. So what I've actually done, and I'm quick with it, I put a notch in there and there, and two corresponding notches on that side. I then took some 2mm thick aluminium. It's 8mm wide, and then I put corresponding notches at either end, and I made two of those. And then what you do is it acts like a trivet or a pot riser, whatever you want to call it, and it fits just like that, and it raises the cup approximately 3mm. So when it's in use, it actually sits on top, and there is plenty of space around it for a chimney effect and for airflow. I've been using a Monkey Boy stove. The idea's been around for probably over a decade now. He was on Bushcraft UK, and basically it's a small tin with some loft insulation, because that doesn't burn and it acts as a sponge if you like, and then a piece of metal gauze on top. It weighs absolutely next to nothing, less than ½ ounce I would say. I can put half a fluid ounce of meths in here, or denatured alcohol, and the stove literally sits over the top, cup on, and 1 cup, yeah, so that's what, 8 fluid ounces, so a cup of water, cold tap water, is boiling, depending on the weather, between, I don't know, just over 4.5 minutes to 5.5 minutes, depending on the weather and the conditions. And that's outside, not inside. Yeah, so on average around 5 minutes for a cup of water. It then continues till around 7 minutes. So you get around 1.5 to 2 minutes rolling boil with it, which should be ample enough to warm up a ration pack meal. And of course, that's with using the lid. Now when I've done the last video, one of the chaps, and I apologise, I should have gone back and looked up your name, asked if I'd ever heard of the Desert Storm stove, which at the time I hadn't. I'd done some research, and from what I can gather, it's the same stove as this, more or less. It's slightly different shape. The main difference is it's got a bottom to it, it's enclosed, and the idea was that for the US troops going over into, you know, Iraq or Kuwait at the time as it was, if they're in a sandy environment, placing a stove like this with an open bottom on the sand, it will sink in. So what they've done is they've done a stove and issued it, and it's just basically got an enclosed base. And that got me thinking, if you were in a snowy position, yeah, if you were somewhere and there was some snow and you haven't dug down to solid earth, of course you could put some branches or something down. But otherwise, if you was to use this, regardless of what fuel you're using it with, on the snow, as it gets hot, it will sink. And then obviously that's going to be detrimental to your use. Likewise, if you was to use that on sand, there's a possibility that again, it will sink into the sand. But what you can do is take your lid and the stove now fits inside the lid, and that then gives you a footprint. So you could then use that on snow. As it gets hot, it will still go down, but it's going to protect the burner or the fuel that you're using inside. Likewise, if you're using it on sand, it will actually sit on top. Only downside is you've lost your lid, so potentially your boil times are going to be a little bit longer. So anyway, that's it. That is, as far as I'm concerned, the final modification to make a pretty good stove twice as good. I don't foresee doing any further mods to it, and I'm just going to use it. As always, if you found the video useful, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel and you like the content that I'm putting out, then please consider subscribing. And of course, I would love to read your comments. Have a good day. See you soon.